today we are going to play with the M.J. Kinman Birthstone series. These are freezer paper pieced. Freezer paper piecing is actually kind of like the easy version of paper piecing. So you don't have to be upside down like you are when you're paper piecing. You kind of have to think upside down to paper piece. But it's still just as precise as paper piecing, and you can still get some of the really incredible designs. So let me show you. For example, this is the diamond. That's that one. Now I will tell you what I'm showing you, she did in solids, and we chose to do them in batiks. I like them in the batiks because I think it gives a little extra dimension to it, a little depth to it. This is the emerald. This one is the pink tourmaline. That's this one. This one is the ruby. And these, depending on the one you're working on, will have anywhere between 6 to, one of them has 15 different colors in it. And that's how you get the facets. And you can see all these sharp points in here where the facets are showing the reflection of the light. That's the cool thing about these. This is the sapphire. This one is aquamarine. And they're all cut different styles. Okay, this one you're going to see that the color is a little different from the pattern face because I don't see too much pink in a amethyst, so I wanted mine a little more traditional amethyst. This one is the tanzanite, which is that kind of periwinkle blue. I have not gotten this one made. This is the one I need to make yet. And then the other one we're going to work on right now is the peridot. Those are the last two in that gemstone series. Then she has another pattern out, actually a couple. This one is called Elizabeth. This is much bigger. So these finish up 17 inches square. Nice pillow, put a border around it and turn it into a pillow and you have a pillow for your birthstone. This one is 40 something inches square. This is 48 inches square. So this is a little more in depth on this one. So let's talk about freezer paper piecing and how easy this is to do. And honestly, it's very easy. So you're gonna get your pattern. We've got these patterns both with and without the fabric. So this particular one has the fabric, so we've already gone through on the back, and we've gotten all of those colors to match the picture on the front. You're going to open up your pattern, and you're going to find two pieces of paper inside the pattern. One of them is this sheet right here, this layout sheet. So you can tell this is your layout sheet. It's not slick, it's just a piece of paper with printing on it. And the other piece is this one. This is your freezer paper. You can see how it's shiny on the one side. This is what we're going to piece with. So, and you'll get that full size. I've already started cutting this apart, which is why you only see that much. But in your pattern, you would see it like that. So that's your freezer paper. The freezer paper is reusable. So you can make this more than once, should you choose. Let me put that back in there so I don't lose this. It just adheres with heat, and as long as you have a little heat, it'll keep going 2 or 3 times. All right, so that's what you have inside your pattern. Let's talk about the pattern, what it looks like. So this sheet, this freezer paper sheet, would have been identical to this layout sheet. And you see how there's dark lines going across here and here? Those are your sections. So you're going to build this by section. So what I would do, and what I have done, this is this piece right here. So I cut those apart by the sections, and you keep everything by section because you're going to piece it that way. And then you're going to subcut this piece So I can set this aside for right now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my ruler. Well, first, this has got a curved piece in it. They don't all have curved pieces, but the ones that do, you're going to cut that curved piece off first. Make sure you've got a sharp blade. Okay, so there's that piece. And now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to cut this apart on all of the lines. And those are all my facets. You'll notice that there's a bunch of letters and numbers and things on your facets. I'm going to explain those in just a minute. Like so. And this is actually very forgiving. So if you sew in the wrong place, if you sew too far away, you can actually just peel off your piece of freezer paper and reattach it closer to your seam line. This is a really forgiving method of piecing. Okay, so you're going to do that to your sections. Now, some people may want to do just one segment all the way through. So you may want to go ahead and piece it, put it together, get it all done, and then do the next segment. I personally do everything all at once just because I like to have everything all organized and ready to go. So there you go. I have my segment. That's this segment right here. It's all cut apart. Now you'll notice on all of these pieces, it says 1-3 and then G1. This one says 1-7 and G1. This one says 1-6 G1, 1-1 G4. So your color number is the G. So this is green number 3, this is green number 4, this is green number 1. So I'm going to divide those by the color that they go on. Here's green 2, green 4. This one is C1, so that's the lighter color. This one, BLK, is obviously black. W is white. And then I have another G2 and another white. Okay. Now, if I got a fabric kit, the very first thing I would have done is go over here to my fabric and mark the number or the letter on all of my fabric. So I've already taken a friction pen and I've written C1 on that one and W for white, C2, and then this is G1, G2, G3, G4, G5. So those are already written. Then what you would do is you're going to take your pieces. So these are my white pieces. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to place them on my white fabric, and I'm just going to tap them down with a hot iron. And then they're going to stick to that fabric like this does. Okay. I'm not going to do that right now because we'd have to leave and go to the iron. So I'm just going to set these aside and I'm going to go to the next part. So let's assume that you have, like I have done, put your number 2 section down on your fabric. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to come in here with a ruler. You're going to put your 1/4 inch line of your ruler on the edge of that template. And I am going to cut out this template piece with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And honestly, this is going to take you more time than anything else. Just this right here, just cutting out all these pieces, because you got a lot of angles to go around. So you can see, as I was putting these pieces on my fabric, I wanted to make sure I left enough room between them that I could get my seam allowance. I'll do one more piece. So again, I've got my 1/4 inch line on the edge of my template piece. And then I'm just cutting apart my piece. And when you get these real sharp points, you're going to get a really long piece. You don't need all of that. You can cut that off. Okay, so I'm going to do that for all of my pieces. And then I'm going to divide them by sections. So this is my section number 2. I already have section number 4 already cut apart, fused with my seam allowance. So now I'm going to use my layout sheet, and I'll put all my pieces together. So I know this piece goes right here. And you see how there's a little line right there? That's my match lines. See how those line up? So when I sew this on here, I'm going to match those lines on the pieces that I'm sewing it to. These pieces I've already actually put together, but these are right here. And then I'm going to just lay out the rest of my pieces. So this is piece number 4. That's going to go right there. And then 5. And then there. Here's 6. That was 7. Here's 8. 9. 10. 11 and 12. Now I know how they go together, and now all I have to do is the piecing. So we're going to stop, we're going to go over to the machine, and we're going to start piecing these pieces together. All right, so I have piece number 4, 5, and I'm going to put it onto piece number 4, 4. So I'm in section 4. I've got piece 1, 2, 3, and 4 put together. Now I'm going to put on 5. You'll see that there's one little mark right there that I need to match this mark up, and that way I know everything's where it belongs. So all I have to do is line those two up, and if I've been really accurate with my 1/4 inch that I let on the outside of each of those template pieces, then my outside edges should line up, and then all I have to do is press those or stitch those together with my 1/4 inch foot. So again, that 1/4 inch seam is pretty important here. You want to make sure you've got a good 1/4 inch seam. Okay, and there you'll see, well, let me press it so you can. There, okay. And then you'll see that I'm right there. Now what if I was way off on this piece? Okay. I could take this piece, well, if I can get my finger under it, I could. There. I can take this piece off. Let's say my lines did not line up, and I can put that right back down and make those lines line up. And now when I match, if it were off, it wasn't, but if it were off, now when I go to add the next piece, I can still use the lines on my template. So you see that sticks again, because it's just that wax stuff on there that keeps it going. So now all I have to do is piece number 6, which is this one right here. And it has 2 marks on it. That lines up with those 2 marks. So I just match those up. Like I was saying, it takes way longer to cut apart your pieces than it does to sew it together. This really, after you got all the pieces put together, this actually goes together pretty quickly. All right, so there's that. Now I'm going to press that. And now I'm going to add piece number 7, which has a piece here that tells me where to line it up. Line that up. Again, the 1/4 inch seam is really, really important. You don't want to get more than a 1/4 inch seam, or you're going to sew that freezer paper to your fabric, and then it's going to make a mess when you go to try to pull it out. Plus, it makes it harder to reuse if you've torn your paper. Lines up just like that. And I can, let's see, 8 goes on next, and it lines up on this piece. Like so. And then 9, you do this in numerical order always. You don't want to get out of order or you'll end up with backing yourself in a corner where you can't get your pieces put together. I only have 3 more pieces to go before I get that curved piece on. Then I'm going to show you how you get that curved piece on. And then I'm going to put this one up here. So this connects in 2 different places. So you're going to connect it up here first and then run it down the side. Just keep everything in order. If you do that, you'll be absolutely fine. And now I'm going to flip that down and go this way. And I'm checking to make sure my line is lined up. I have a single line on this one. Okay, I'm in pretty good shape here. And then I'm going to put on piece number 11 and 12, and then we'll get to that curved piece. And we're going to use pins when we get to that curved piece. All right, and our last piece goes right here. And you'll notice I'm not taking this freezer paper off because I need all these marks when I go to join my segments. So this is section number 4. It's going to connect to section number 3. I don't want to take my freezer paper off until I get my sections connected. Okay, so now I have that. And now I have to connect this. And this is where we're going to use pins. So we're going to put this on here and we're going to line up all of those marks. And you're going to ease this around as you work around. So I can line these 2 lines up. I don't know if you can see down in there, but there are my 2 lines on this side and on that side, and I'm just making sure that they're lined up. And then I'm going to pin through that and make sure it doesn't move. I have another single line right here. I'm putting that right there, making sure that lines up. So the curved thing is nothing you need to worry about because you have all of these guidelines to help you make it work. And I'm going to pull that all the way around to that last mark. And you'll see I've got almost a ruffled effect going on there. That's where I'm making the curve. I'm going to make sure that my end piece is also edges together. And then I'm going to do the same down here. So start in the middle and work your way around. And you are going through the paper as well as the fabric here. And you do want to do that. That makes sure that nothing slides around. Okay. All right, now I've got all my pinning done. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start right here with my 1/4 inch seam. And I'm just going to sew all the way around with that 1/4 inch seam. I don't need to go fast. You don't want to sew over your pins. Ease that extra fabric under the left side of your foot as you're going. That's where we kind of ruffled it a little bit. So just kind of ease that under your foot so you don't get pleats sewn in. And do not sew over pins. You don't want to sew over your pins. And this is a pretty tight curve down at this end, so I'm going to take a little extra time and push some of that extra fabric through under my foot. Okay, so if I did that right, I'm going to have a nice gentle curve, and everything's going to line up right where it's supposed to. Just like that. So now I have to press it so you can see. And there you go. I got my curve on. You can see it going all the way around. I can take this outside piece off because I'm not using this again, so. There's my curve that went onto that piece. And actually, I can take this off because shoot, I can't get my finger underneath there. There. I need this piece because I need that line. I need this piece because I need that line. But I can take off these inside pieces that I don't have lines on so you can see where the curve line, oops. There. So you can see where the curved seam came in. But that is how easy that is to do. And I can reuse these templates. You can still feel the tackiness on the back of them. So I can reuse these. I can make this again if I want to. But that is all, ooh, I got thread coming through here. That is all there is to doing this technique. I got starting threads pulling through here that I'll cut right off there. It's pretty easy, and it makes these really, really cool blocks. It's a nice technique. really complicated looking stuff, and it's really not hard to do. It's time consuming, but it's really not hard to do. So I hope you will grab one of these patterns and make one for yourself. Get yourself your birthstone and make yourself your very own birthstone pillow or something fun like that. Easy. See you next time.